And one of the things that, primarily what I do is raise awareness and try to help people understand more about human trafficking that happens right here, like in our backyard. And I want to thank Tammy for inviting me and to be a part of this just small group. This is going to be, because we're so small, let's just keep it so interactive. Like if you have a question while I'm speaking, please just go and I'm happy to answer it. Because that's where, I mean, if you've got stuff in your gut, we'll just bring it out there and talk about it. And I just want to say thank you to you guys for being here, because the subject of human trafficking is so heavy and complicated and uncomfortable. And there's a lot of people in the United States, me probably being one of them 20 years ago, not really wanting to know about the darkness that exists, because I feel I've always in my Christianity, I'm like, I don't want to know because now I'm held accountable. And so, I mean, it's that too, for sure. But I want you to know that as we begin, that there's always hope. And the women at Naomi's house, every single day they experience the light of Christ. And as we all know, especially this group of people who are seasoned, including myself, that the darkness basically just shines so, I mean, light shines so much better than darkness. And so that's what they experience. And up until about 4 years ago, I knew nothing about human trafficking. You know, I believed all the stereotypes that are present, like these are women of color. They're brought in and kidnapped from different countries. They're held captive in attics and hotels and homes, and that's all true. But it's far different in the United States than those stereotypes. So oftentimes, what happens is that most of the women from Naomi's house are not trafficked by a pimp. I mean, they're not trafficked by from being kidnapped or by a pimp. They're actually trafficked by a family member or a close friend. And basically, the reason that they are is because they're groomed and they need to get their basic needs met. They're promised security, they're promised love, and they basically just take someone who's very vulnerable and usually, struggling just period with education, all different kinds of things. And they promise them what no one else has ever given them. And then they move into suggesting that they use their bodies for sex. So 84% of the women trafficked in the United States are under third-party control, and they have zero to no agency. So begs a few questions, like what is commercial sexual exploitation? How relevant is it here? And what can we do about it as a group of the Big C Church? And to help us give us context, we're going to first watch a video. This is my friend Summer, and she is a graduate of, I should probably be doing the slides. I keep forgetting about that.
I give you a little clicker, but I'll help.
Oh, you want to do that? Or Don can do it. Don't even worry about it.
Don's got it.
I can just go like that, because I can see it right here too. But we're going to watch a short video. It's uncomfortable. I just want you to know that. But it's truth and it's beauty all mixed together. And there's always redemption and hope. So I'm going to move out of the way, and so you guys can see this.
In my family, there was no normal childhood. We were single parents, 5 kids, 4 baby daddies. My mom was very promiscuous. I remember alcohol and drugs being pretty constant in our childhood home. My story started young. I mean, there was physical and emotional abuse well before the age of 8. But I remember 8 was the first time a sexual situation came up. And I remember the next day I had school. And I remember going to school and we were doing story time. And I remember just kind of like pulling my knees to my chest because I didn't feel comfortable like laying with any of my body parts easily accessible. For years, I did not think that my trafficker knew what was going on when I left the house. And that added more guilt and shame onto me because I was like, oh my God, I'm this evil person. Like, I'm sent to go run this errand and all this other stuff is happening. And then years later, I started putting the pieces together of like, no, I heard talk about needing money beforehand, and then this person randomly showing up, and then me being randomly sent with them. I didn't tell anybody what was going on. I didn't ask anybody for help because I did not feel safe. My trafficking lasted from 8 to 16. My mom was my trafficker. And being trafficked by my mother, like, it made me feel isolated and alone, but I also needed her, which was really hard to be like, I need you to be my parent, but I really don't want you. Just trying to walk that line as a kid of I love you and I hate you. My trauma manifested in the form of PTSD, drug use, alcohol use, being promiscuous. Every trauma we go through, it's like building blocks. It gets stored up in your body and you feel it. PTSD, it feels like your brain short circuits. It's almost like sticking a fork into a light socket because you get like these flashback of memories, and it's literally like watching a movie of what happened in your life. And you can't shut it off, you can't break the tape, and just feeling paralyzed by that. And all you want is to shred the tape, and you can't. So you numb out, and it's really tough. There was a 4-year stint where I tried to take myself out every 2 weeks. I was trying a new method because I couldn't stand it. So where I became aware of everything and what actually happened and actually started to have the language was a friend of mine knew about Naomi's House. I remember being like, I don't know if my story qualifies as human trafficking because I didn't have the language. To come to a Christian program and be like, here's all of me, the good, the bad, the ugly. Please don't hurt me. Please do what's best for me. Please do what I can't do for myself, and to really trust them to do that was probably the most terrifying thing I could have ever have done in my life. When people find out that you have trauma, they look at you a lot of the times like you're broken or something's wrong with you. And so I think when I felt safe to express my trauma and still be accepted as a person and not as the remains of that trauma, it made a huge difference. I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt validated, I felt like more than the sum of my past. I felt like somebody that God could actually love. Coming to Naomi's House was the first time that I felt like I found a hospital for the sinner instead of a country club for the saints. And that to me meant everything, and it changed everything about the way I view God.
until they know that there's a difference. You know, but intuitively and internally people do know. But it just absolutely just disgusts me that, you know, that humans are treated with such disregard, disrespected. It's just awful. Oh, mostly it's relatives. Mostly it's relatives. Today, though, I want to give you a little bit of a picture about Summer and where she's at. And Summer is now married. She loves Jesus like no other. They started a business, and so she is cleaning offices and churches, and in fact, she cleans the facility, Naomi House facilities in Wheaton. She's still very, very connected and very tight. When someone graduates from our program at Naomi's House, we don't say bye. You know, I'm going to get into the programs, but we have a graduate program where we need to stay with these ladies as long as they need us to stay. You know, until they feel confident that they've got this on their own. So, why do we exist? So, that would probably be a slide, because we believe that every single woman who has suffered from commercial sexual exploitation deserves a fresh start. And we also know that, so like, next slide, please. So basically, what is commercial sexual exploitation? That's really, what is it? Especially when she was like, I don't even know if I qualify. Well, there's 3 ingredients. One, you have a buyer, you have a pimp or a John, and you have a product. And the pimp or John, and we both know what they do, the pimp and the John, and then the woman is the product or the child, and they have 0 to no agency at all. So how this is, and this is like, it's always done with exchange for money, for resources, for time, anything that, you know, sex brings, you know, some type of a payment, and that's what human trafficking is. So, could we go to the next slide too? So this year in 2025, right, he's still working on the numbers. We have served 377 women. And basically, we're all over the Chicago area, which I'll actually get to in a minute. But 80% of the women that want to get out re-enter the life because of inadequate aftercare services. You know, if you think about it for a minute, you know, these are usually under-resourced. Well, not always, but under-resourced. There's lack of education. There's lack of job support. There's, you know, life skills. There's just so many different things that keeps getting their basic needs met. There's just so many different things which makes it really, really difficult for people to get out. In Illinois, just Illinois alone, right now there's over 24,300 women and children who are being trafficked as we speak. Only 200 or less than 1% are identified every year.
How do you know then the 24,000?
That's a great question. I asked the same thing. Like, how do we know it's 24,300? And it has a lot to do with hospitals, drug rehabilitation centers, jails, you know, like different ways, police departments. So all of these statistics are gathered through things like that. So basically, what 89% of the women, I wanted to tell you this, there's only 1,600 beds in the entire United States that are identified for women and children who've been trafficked. And I'm sure you guys have all heard and felt, you know, the money that's being withdrawn from many, many programs because of just where we are right now. And so that just breaks my heart, because it just is really, it's really hurting the people that really need the help.
1,600 beds, like individual places, for only only for 1,600 women, or is it 1,600 facilities?
1,600 beds.
So those are only throughout the entire United 50 states. Only 1,000 for the 24,300 women and girls just in Illinois. Only 1,600 beds, places for these trafficked women to go, are available for them in the U.S.
Yeah. It's one of those subjects that is, where these ladies actually live. We host up to 8 women at a time, and the program lasts anywhere from 18 to 24 months before graduation, and then heading into postgraduate. So for many survivors, this is the first time that they have been given the power to choose. And like what to wear, what to eat, what do they want their life to look like? To have hopes and dreams that someone says, nah, ain't gonna happen. We always begin or preside with devotions in the morning. And we have a new resident, her name is Esther, and she basically was asked a question like, what was the best part of your week? And she said, well, she said, going to the grocery store for the first time in my life, alone, and picking out the product and the food that I actually want to eat. I just let that sit for a second in your gut. Our second program is RISE. And when survivors come to RISE, they receive care like they have not received. And I'm so good. I'm so good. Okay. And this is a trauma-informed based program. It's a day program. This is for women who actually have residency, and they come. They come for trauma-informed therapy, group therapy, anything that they need, and they sit down with their case manager and they create a program goals, and we walk with them the entire way. You want to build your resume? Let's do it together. You need a job? Let's figure it out together. You want, you want life skills. You want to learn how to cook. There's so many things that the women, and they're all individual, have and don't have. And so we're just there to support them and love on them. But the number one thing is therapy. It's for them. We have many clinicians on staff, and they basically just know how to support a woman who's gone through this. So basically, so I've got another story of redemption that I would love to share with you. And this is my direct survivor experience, and one of the roles that we have is a mentor. So it's a one-on-one mentor, and with a woman that is part of Naomi's house. And so I started mentoring a woman about 2.5 years ago. And when I first met her, I was immediately like drawn in. She was part of our new program, because we have programs in Chicago, in DuPage, Cook, and newest in Kane County. The sad part is we are growing, which is good and bad all at the same time. It's kind of like an oxymoron. Like we really don't want to expand, but our expansion, we're realizing, is helping so many people. And Kane County is one of the, one of the highest. And DuPage is also very high. Can anyone guess why? DuPage? Money. DuPage is a more wealthier community, and it also has the train. So that transportation going back and forth. But she was my hero. I absolutely adore her. When she came to the program, she was quite broken. She didn't even know she qualified. And she went back to school. She has her recovery support certificate, and she was working full-time at Lutheran Family Services in Elgin, where she where she actually was in one of those beds. So I just love the way Jesus just like redeems. She now works for a place called Share, where she's an intake representative, and she is offering help and hope to women who are being trafficked and also struggling with addiction. She's sober, and most women and children who are being trafficked are addicted to something. 21,
17.
17, one more,
30.
65.
Oh,
Here's all. I remember her and I having a conversation once, and she looked at me and she's like, how long am I going to do this? Like, you know, with her age. And I said, you know, and this was so the Holy Spirit. I said, you know what? There are 40 and 50 and 60-year-old women laying on their couch saying, my life is over. How am I ever at this age going to change? And you are the epitome of if you're never too late. And so for them, for you to be that example for so many other women, it's just outstanding and beautiful. So her and I are BFFs. She gives me strength, and I've experienced more endurance and perseverance just because I think about her story and how hard she worked to change her life. And credit go God for that, for sure. So what can like we do collectively as a community? Well, the first thing is to pray. Pray boldly. Like when you think about this, just ask God just to intervene in the most amazing ways individually for these ladies, and also for all the organizations that we're trying to fight against one of the most profitable, disgusting, like powerhouses, you know, that is evil in our country and in others. The other thing is raise awareness. Like, in other words, like talk about what you just learned today. Tell people about it. The other thing is there's all different little things that we can do, and there's going to be a sign-up sheet that's right outside that you can fill this out. You can just get our newsletter if that's what you want, or and just to get a little bit more educated. But if you want to hear more volunteer opportunities, or if you want to give financially, because every single dollar that we receive goes directly to our survivors. I mean, of course, we have a short administrative cost, but we are 100% funded by individuals, churches, and organizations. And Sheila, and well, I shouldn't say her name, sorry, I didn't say that. And also Summer, basically both of them would not be where they are if it wasn't for Naomi's House and the funding that we received. But so anyway, that is the end of my presentation. Would you guys have any questions?
How do they wind up coming to your organization? Who sends them?
Oh, that's a great question. So we have an outreach part of our organization where there are women who work for us who are also graduates from Naomi's House, better to walk into 10 cities, jails, you know, under-resourced areas and say, hey, there's a new way. We have what we call these outreach bags that many people like volunteer and put together. QR codes up there. And basically, it's a drawstring bag, and it's filled with like girly things, you know. And so those are our like these are like, hey, would you like one of our bags? And then you know, we just have conversations with people, and that's one way. Another way is we go into jails, we go into facilities where people are getting sober, police stations, online. So most of the transactions for human trafficking these days are done online. It's not so much women standing on the street corners anymore. And we have an organization called Freedom Signal that actually trains people how to be on a website, see someone on there trying to buy someone, and being able to go to the back door to the women and say, hey, we're here. Need anything? And one of the things that we do, I didn't even talk about our RISE, which is one of our signature programs too, where we build relationships with people with women in the community before they have decided or are released from trafficking. So we want to build trust. They come to us, they get a meal, clothes, community. They can join support group. We are there for them, so that once they're ready to go, then they have a place where they know that they can trust.
Do you get any pushback from the pimps or whatever when you taking these gals away from them?
Great question. And and it's just expanding. You know, and that's literally where our focus is right now, because we cannot help more people unless we expand our staff. Because, you know, and the word of mouth through women who are being trafficked, talking to their friends, a lot of this is just like, hey, you know what, I know about this place. Even if you're not ready to go get some food, go get some clothes, take your kids over there. So, but for staff, there's probably about 30.
So is the main office or the main house is in Wheaton, Illinois. But you're saying that you're opening things up not only in DuPage, but like in Kane County and
Kane and
Cook
Cook.
County. So those are more located, because Wheaton is not too far away from us here in Elgin. But
Right.
we're more in the outskirts or just in that, I'm thinking of Kane County and all that stuff. So you are pretty close to around this area.
Very close to around here.
And
Like,
how-
very close. So you guys can make meals and drop them off. On Wednesdays, I think you group there.
Where's that at?
Where?
At the location in Elgin.
There is actually a Naomi House in Elgin
Yes.
itself.
There's
Okay.
there, yeah.
All right.
No.
So how would we drop things off?
Well, that you would go through a volunteer, you'd have to go through, I mean, it's like not a big deal. It depends if you're, face to face with one of our guests or our clients, then you have to go through a pretty extensive, training, but it's not hard. And then if you're dropping off wheels, I think that's a different, separate tier. And so it's, you sign, and you just say, I promise, like I will not, because we gotta keep our ladies safe. We don't want the kids to know where they're at. So, yes, that's like, I would turn you over to a woman by the name of Carly, and she would get you totally set up. And you could be a host on a Wednesday, where you just show up and just love on these ladies before they start their group therapy, and just chat with them, feed them a meal. I mean, they need clothes, babysitting. I mean, there's just, they need people to drive, because most of our ladies don't have a car, and or a driver's license, so we need drivers to say, we used to take this girl to, a doctor's appointment, she needs to go to work, things like that, you sign up for those.
So there's no physical storefront?
Oh, yeah.
With a big sign in front of it?
Oh, gosh, no.
Okay.
Oh, gosh, no. At Reside, we have like, devotions, we have like outdoor work. There's not a lot for the guys to do, except like outreach bags and like, and yard work and things like that at some of our facilities.
We don't want volunteer guys.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That's for mostly child-only reasons, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, we could say the wrong thing. We don't even know we're saying it, which would trigger someone. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, it's just like all of that, yeah. But they do a beautiful job of education, training people how to do this, and that's how I started. It was great. It was absolutely great.
Are most of the residents local?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
do they come from somewhere else?
We have had people that have been, because we're very unique. We're the only one in the Illinois that is like this. There's a duplication of Naomi's House beginning in Wisconsin, and I think that this model may be duplicated other places, but it's been highly successful because the guys just guided this entire model from, because we didn't start with all 3 programs. We started very small. You know, and I know it doesn't make logical sense to us, but it's true. Yeah. How you guys doing? Anybody surprised by this? Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
yes.
it's probably, well, you hear in the news about all of the lost people or all of the bad guys that are being rounded up. Sometimes you don't think about all of the victims, you're just hearing about the perpetrators.
I know, I know.
That's why I kind of wondered, is there a way to make sure that whoever it was that was grooming them or being the seller is also removed from the equation?
Yeah. It's very hard to prove. That whole P. Diddy trial was like eyes on
A
him.
joke.
There was a lot of eyes. This has become, I've heard of this being called the modern day slavery, because this is what it is. It's gone from, they call it hidden in plain sight, where it is definitely more prevalent than you realize, and at the same time more well hidden than anyone can describe.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, there's busts that happen all around here, all around my community. I mean, we work very closely with police stations and other organizations to just rally each other, you know, but it's one life at a time. I often think about scripture with Jesus, and he might have been, you know, in front of the masses a lot, but there's so many stories in there where it was just him and one person. I'm gonna pick out you in this crowd. I'm talking to you. And so it's like, who's ever in front of you, that's who we're supposed to take care of, and Jesus will take care of the rest. So, well, thank you.
Thank you.
If you are interested in learning more, or just a newsletter, or wanting to potentially do something, Tammy, this is outside,
I
right?
have one out on the table out there.
And I left a stack of my cards out there too. Don't hesitate to reach out at all. Yes, sir.
Between your three, because you have 3 locations now.
Yes.
So between
We
the
have
3,
actually 4, yes.
between all of them, how many women can you provide for as far as, I guess I would say, in-home? In other words,
Well, there's